Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the greatest podcast to ever live. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Johananan.
It's me, Casualty, CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. I'm happy to be here, guys. I'm glad you invited me to this special episode. I actually went out and saw the movie, and so the fact that it lined up with when you guys are recording is just awesome. Thanks for having me.
Gary, when was the last time you went to see a movie in theaters before today? Was it for Thor? Was it Thor?
Didn't you make us go see Jurassic Park? When was that?
That was before Thor.
That was just such a piece of crap. So yeah, I only go when you make me go. So yeah, Thor would have been the last time.
You're welcome? I think? You're welcome?
Tell people who you are.
If I lost y'all, that was on me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry. Anyway, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Drew Munhausen. I'm the media and movie mastermind here at Fresh Out the Podcast. And we have a special guest who's been very polite and quiet as we've been already bantering a little bit. It is the mayor of Nerdtropolis himself, who has been a regular recurring guest for, especially when we have these big Marvel movie reviews and recaps. It is Shantaj. Sean, how are you?
You forgot also the newest member of the Critics' Choice Association. We need to start plugging that.
I did forget that. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sean.
I'm excited to be back. I enjoy my time with y'all.
Maury writing and critics.
The Houston
please.
Film Critics Society does not know what they're missing out on currently.
Yeah, apparently.
One day. Well, we are here to talk Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which for some people I think is probably a lot of people's most anticipated movie of the year. Like, is that fair? I'm not saying that within this group, within us, but like, would you say that in general?
No.
That this is a lot of people's most anticipated movie of the year?
God, no.
Well, Twitter is saying...
Gary, you can't just put your own feelings there.
Why not? This is our show. Of course I can. God,
Look at Twitter. They're ranking their movies, and Black Panther is apparently the best Phase 4 movie according to Twitter. Everyone's sharing their list, and all of a sudden the hype is very high for Wakanda Forever.
Just not sure if it was something that everyone was on the edge of their couch, biting their nails. They couldn't wait for this to come out. I am not sure if it had that kind of hype waiting for it. I do agree with you, Sean. I think that it was good, and I would rank it high as well. But to answer Drew, was it anticipated? Was it highly anticipated? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was a highly anticipated Marvel movie that people couldn't wait to sink their teeth into. I'm just not sure.
I think the first Black Panther did absolutely bonkers business at the box office when it came out. It was very kind of, basically it was revolutionary for what it was at the time, what it was doing, but within the MCU formula. I actually rewatched it this week before seeing Wakanda Forever, and it was the first time that I had rewatched it since seeing it in theaters. And I actually liked it a lot more on rewatch. I think it's actually aged pretty well. I would say it is, but I had some reservations about Wakanda Forever. I mean, just going into it, especially, it doesn't help that they had all the industry stories coming out throughout there was a lot of trouble or production issues and slowdowns and delays and things like that with it, which always kind of raises some red flags, which, I mean, of course, they had to completely rewrite what they had in mind, and there was a lot going on here. And I feel like from my corner of the internet where I look on, I've seen a lot of varied responses to it. Some saying kind of in line with what you were saying, Sean, like at best, Phase 4 movie, that it's one of the best Marvel movies. A lot of people liked it better than the first. And I've seen the other side of the spectrum where people are saying they didn't think that it really worked that well, and and all that stuff. So we're going to get into all of our own personal feelings, because I think this is an interesting one. There's not a consensus. It's kind of all over the place. I think that this will hit differently from a personal standpoint for every individual. I mean, is that being a little bit too existential? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, so yeah, this movie's gonna mean a lot of different things to different people. It is a very representational movie, so that's gonna mean a lot to a lot of different people. It's also a big movie. This is a big movie. Just watching, I don't know how much they spent on this, but it must have been expensive.
2 hours and 40 minutes long.
2 hours and 40 minutes long. With
41.
41 minutes long with a lot of extensive underwater scenes, and those are not cheap. So like it's pretty crazy. It looked like it was quite the undertaking, and I think they did a great job. Me personally, I enjoyed this movie for sure. Where does it stand compared to everything else? I'm not sure.
Let me set some quick little ground rules. Like, get we get into this. Going to actually. It's rare for me. I have not looked to see what the box office tracking is so far for it. I'm assuming it's doing pretty well.
Oh, I did. I have an article had an article for tonight for that one, for the box office, and it's like sitting at 87 million domestic, and I think it's at for Friday. So Friday.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like that's kind of low.
No,
for
domestic.
this.
No, domestic Friday was 87 million, which is really good actually.
And I think the first one made like 202 million domestic its opening weekend, and this was tracking originally a little below. But I mean, if it made that much on Friday, it'll probably come relatively close. It's going to be in the upper hundreds, I would assume.
It could be close to 200 depending on what the hype is towards Sunday. But so far, Doctor Strange opened up at 187 million, I think, opening weekend domestically, I think is where it was at. So that has the best opening of the year, is Multiverse of Madness.
I'm actually surprised to hear that.
So that's let's see. Let's say for now we're gonna start off with not going into spoiler territory. I just want to talk some overall general thoughts. I mean, we can talk about some of the stuff that's in the trailers, right? Like we know Namor's in this movie. We know, there's things.
Aquaman.
They recast
but
Aquaman.
we won't.
It's not Jason Momoa anymore, and I didn't like it.
We can give a few minutes for non-spoilers so that anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet but still wants to listen to us give some general thoughts can listen, and then we'll get full on into spoilers probably sooner rather than later, just because it's a hard one not to not talk about spoilers. But
we do promise to try not to drop any spoilers for the next few minutes. But then after that, it's fair game.
It'll be the danger zone after that.
If you play in the danger zone, you have a 25% chance that your card is destroyed.
That's the danger room, Gary. That's only a Marvel Snap. Brought to you by Marvel Snap. Snap your enemies into submission.
I wish it was. I wish they were a sponsor. We're all obsessed with that game. Sean, have you played Marvel Snap yet?
No, but Twitter keeps showing it to me non-stop. It's always at the top of my thread.
Again.
I'm like, what is this? What is this?
It's good. It's good. It's super fun. It's super addictive.
It's currently Twitter's sole source of income.
It seems
Especially,
like it.
Once you get a good build, the addiction only becomes worse because you're just completely dominating people. I would say, like, if you don't experiment and you have a bad deck, I could see you getting burnt out on it pretty fast if you keep losing. But no,
I'm a
it's
sore
good.
loser. So
That game's hot. That game's hot fire. And so is this movie.
So is this movie. Yeah, I liked it. A lot more than I expected to. I don't think, again, I have recency now of watching the first one. I don't think for myself it's quite as good as the first one, but I'd say it's like a small step below it. This movie obviously had a whole lot that it needed to do, right? Because it has to overcome the death of Chadwick Boseman, which, I mean, obviously that's going to be brought up. It has to introduce a few new characters that are probably going to be important to Marvel moving forward. And it also has to deal with the characters within this world that are still around and give everybody something to do. And so there's just a lot that's being juggled here. For myself, I thought that it started very strong. I thought that the emotional things that it was hitting at the beginning worked for me, and I thought that I thought the same for everything that happened in the last act. I thought that the middle of the movie sagged a little bit, and I thought the more that it got into Namor and the everything there, I thought was a little bit sluggish myself. But overall, still very impressed overall with what they had to do here.
Based on just your opinions of the pacing, I'd agree. Strong start, slugs in the middle, specifically when it's dealing with like the Namor backstory. It does, I don't know, it does drag a bit, and then at the end, its finish is very strong.
How about you, Sean? I know that you reviewed it for Nerdtropolis, and I know the review is out there for people to read. But while you're here, what? Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think it's one of the top Phase 4 movies, and that's how I really did my review, is based off this year and not really what the past MCU stuff has done in the previous years. Kind of compare it to what was going on with Phase 4. I thought this was Namor's movie. Like, this was just Namor's movie, and I really thought he did shine when he was on the screen, and everyone else was really great, but you can tell with no Chadwick, it's not really a Black Panther movie, regardless of where the story went. This was more of a Namor movie, and you can tell like Chadwick was dearly missed. He made, the first movie amazing. And you said this one maybe is a step below it. I think it's a little bit further down than that because you're missing Chadwick. Like the chemistry with him and Shuri, like T'Challa and Shuri, is amazing. And without that, it's kind of sad to be missing it and not getting it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the phrase that I keep seeing out there on the web is like this, the cliche quote at this point is, this movie has a Chadwick Boseman shaped hole in it. And I get that. I mean, it's kind of true. I feel like it definitely misses him, but I feel like for everything that they set out to do, I feel like they did it.
Yeah, I
in
feel
a way.
like the script had a Chadwick Boseman-sized hole in it on purpose. That's kind of the whole movie, is that you're missing him. That's like the whole point. It's a lot of it is like, how are they just going to scrape by? They feel threatened. They need a new Black Panther. They can't have one. That's the whole point, right? Is that you're going to miss Chadwick Boseman.
I think you said it really well. That's actually a really good point. A lot of people have been saying that as a negative on the movie itself, when you can really turn it into a positive. Like it is the point. I agree with you. There's a lot of grieving. There's a lot of grieving for the characters. They allow grieving for the audience. I don't think it's spoiler to say we all knew that was going to be coming.
But I think to what my point was, though, the reason why I didn't think the character Shuri could carry the movie throughout. That's why I think it's Namor's movie, and I wish they gave him a little bit more, because I felt like just Shuri on her own wasn't going to really do it, to be honest. And you need everyone.
The general also, I thought she did an amazing job.
Yes.
She had some really powerful scenes in the early parts of the movie, and we weren't let down by the end of the movie with some of the choices she had made. So I agree that Namor stole the movie, but it was a movie about the tertiary characters. It was all about introducing some new characters and putting some other characters on the forefront. And I think they did a pretty good job kind of bouncing the camera between, I would say, 3 or 4 characters that we're looking forward to seeing some more of. But I would love to see more Namor. Absolutely. He was wonderfully cast. It's not the guy I would have picked. His background was really cool. A lot of the art and culture that they brought into his the clothes his people wore, I really respected and thought was super awesome. And I can't wait to talk about that.
Had a little bit more of like almost like a Mayan kind of feel to it, didn't it? I thought that was really fascinating too.
Loved it. I absolutely thought that was super cool. They made some really good decisions and choices. And our whole lives we've always called him Namor, right? But then we get his story and he's Namor.
And you have Namora and Namor. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love Namor. Like this is my Namor now. Like I'm all in on this guy. They made some changes, but I think they're all for the best.
Well, Coogler said himself that they didn't want to do it. They really wanted to take away from DC's Aquaman and not be like that. Their version of like Namor and Atlantis, and they didn't want to be like the Disney movie Atlantis. They wanted to create something that was very more related today to with the indigenous people and all that other stuff. So I mean, I thought it was a good call what they created, brand new, pretty much.
And even the look of their kingdom, I guess, for lack of a better term, was interesting. Like you made the comparison to Aquaman. Obviously, that's the easiest comparison to make here, where everything, even underwater, was like very bright and colorful in there. And this, I mean, felt like it was truly underwater. It's very dark. Some blues, but a lot of greens. Like a lot of what you actually see underwater, almost very uninviting of a place, compared to how many movies that it seems like there are coming out that take place underwater. We have a trailer now for the Little Mermaid live action movie. And then of course I had an Avatar, The Way of Water trailer before this, which has a lot of underwater stuff. And all of these underwater films have very different looks than what Namor's kingdom looked like within
this
film.
Kind of green-hued, spooky, cloudy, foggy underwater kingdom is exactly how I would imagine it looking in real life. And of course, they were in the Atlantic, right off the Gulf of Mexico, which is the ocean I'm most familiar with. So maybe that's why I think that it looked really accurate, because that's the water that I know the best. But I loved it. I loved that, creatures and characters would just sort of come out of nowhere, that they were just a few feet away, but you couldn't see them because of the green, murky, just hues. And then his people, I thought that the colors worked really cool for his people to make them look flesh tone underwater.
Yeah, I noticed that too. They were flesh tone underwater. I was confused for a second. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, they're all flesh tone underwater except, but Namor is flesh toned both.
Yes.
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool. I thought, it was kind of, they don't mention it. They don't acknowledge it. It just is a really cool fact. But
I just thought they went over budget and they couldn't finish it off.
Maybe their budget was kind of nuts. Yeah, no, I agree. Namor was dope. They did a great job. See, I wasn't like excited to see Namor from the comics. I don't know Namor from the comics. I don't care about Namor from the comics. I think
he is the first Marvel superhero.
I was gonna say he's like one of their OG three characters.
I mean,
he's old school.
The respect owed to that aside, oh cool, he was the first, whatever. I never read any of those comics. I've never seen him in a comic.
That's okay, Jahan. You don't have to be attached to every character. Don't let these guys bully you.
I'm getting bullied, guys. But no, I mean, I like I said, I wasn't excited for Namor. They gave me something else. They gave me this other guy. He's a fresh person. I got to know him when everyone else got to know him on screen. So I got to be there. It felt like a new character that we were all introduced to on an equal footing. And he was a really cool character. But earlier,
I can't believe they never dropped the Submariner name. They never name dropped it in the film.
Yeah, he's not the Submariner this time. He's Namor.
Namor. You new Latin lover.
Yeah, it was really dope. But I also, so with him, I mean, you guys were talking about how Shuri honestly surprised me in this movie with, because I wasn't expecting her to be able to carry the movie. I thought she did a pretty good job. And I was also very surprised by the performance of the Queen. The Queen fucking crushed it.
Angela Bassett's great.
Yeah, her performance was outstanding. And man, when she was at, the UN and a few other scenes where she had these big speech moments, she crushed it, man. She was
oh yeah, that's right. I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Yeah, she was.
But I think she outshined Shuri though. That's what I think Shuri maybe I think she was when it comes to the characters in Wakanda, I think she was either second or third best in that movie.
I thought that Shuri was unlikable in the first Black Panther. I did not like the character. I did not really care for the actress, and I didn't think she did a lot for me. So I did not expect her to be able to carry this movie, to Jahan's point, but she did. And I thought the movie was actually a very good action flick. Marvel flick aside, I thought that Wakanda Forever was just a good action movie. A lot of the fighting and a lot of the heroes were realistic characters and realistic people. There weren't so many superheroes. They were kind of realistic fights, just good martial arts. And there's something to respect about that. I thought it was just a good action movie, and I thought that Shuri really did carry it, and I had no expectation of that.
I thought she did a good job, but sure, some of the other performances outshined her, but I also don't feel like she was meant for center stage. I feel like this was a movie about the people of Wakanda, filling that Chadwick Boseman hole. Man,
It's very much
that
an
is
ensemble picture.
Yeah, it's more of I felt more like it was an ensemble. Everybody had their shtick. I felt like
Very
they all
female led too.
very
Strong
female-led.
female led. I did enjoy that a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I didn't think she carried the film. I thought she had such a great supporting cast that makes everyone look good, and especially her. And I think Angela Bassett was the leader of that.
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like
ensemble.
she carried her part, but yeah, it was definitely a group effort, a cadre of powerful women, and it was something else. It's something that you don't typically see in movies.
In the billing order, the first male that comes up is Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku. And I like him. But speaking of the characters that y'all were saying, like, because we mentioned briefly Okoye, the general, and she, I was surprised at how much in this one they used her character for comedy. And I thought a lot of that stuff played really well. There were maybe a couple times they maybe cheesed it a little too much, but not, I'm not saying Thor: Love and Thunder lengths here. Like, I thought most of that worked.
Awesome. And there was a moment where I thought that this was her movie.
Yes.
And then, of course, some other things happened during the plot, and you find out it's not her movie. But she could have her own movie. And because the first half of this movie was her movie, and then it slows down when she's not on screen anymore,
and
then it speeds up when she's back again. Okoye could have a movie, without a doubt.
They really humanized her. Yeah, they really humanized her. They really laid on more personality. You get to know her better. You get to see her at work and at play, and through emotion.
I'd like to talk about the intangible it, because you can really see it if you're a wrestling fan. Some people have it, some people don't. Some actors, some characters, some performers have it. Okoye has it. If you were in a bank or a grocery store and you turned and looked at her, you'd like shivers would run down your spine, and you would think that you might get killed. You'd be like, oh shit, she has it. Her presence comes through the screen, and she just totally has it. She nails that character.
Same as Michonne, man. She holds it down.
Yeah, the Wakandan performances, again, to Sean's point, just totally awesome all across the board, from the Queen to Okoye, and honestly, yeah, probably Shuri was one of the least strong actors in that, but I think she still surprised me with what she brought to the table.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Lupita Nyong'o much, who plays Nakia. She's great. I mean, I feel like her character has a little bit less to do than some of the other ones, but I still thought her emotional impact to the story, especially the role that she plays with her relationship that she had with T'Challa from the previous film and everything, that worked out really well. I just want to mention her because we hadn't said that. And then I'll just shout out, because Martin Freeman's in this movie. He reprises his character from the first film and from some of the other Marvel films, but I don't want to talk about him too much here because I feel like his stuff gets into some of the spoilers I want to talk about.
I liked him. And he was nice and fun every time he was on screen. It was exciting.
Can we talk about, though, and y'all, let me know if this needs to be saved for spoilers, but I knew this character was going to be in the movie. There's another new character, a new MCU character who is introduced.
Well, I would say that is spoilers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's spoilers. We'll save that one. But I will say this. I think Martin Freeman was in the movie way too much. I think
really?
He was a big part of the plot, and I will say right now, like, I thought he was too much screen time, I think, for such...
I'm with you. That's why I didn't want to say too much because of other folks that are involved in his storyline. But I will say that I feel like his storyline could have been cut entirely from the movie and nothing would have been missed.
See, I think
you guys have no idea what's coming next.
Yeah, I think
because
they're using it to set up for another.
Yeah. I totally understand why it's there and what it's doing, but in the context of this film is a standalone thing. His storyline was...
They didn't need him to make that introduction and that connection with that other person we'll talk about later. He did not need to be... Like, you didn't need him to bring that person in. They just wanted to connect the dots a little more, and it just kind of wasted film time.
Shaking my head, I couldn't disagree more. I loved the Martin Freeman stuff. I loved what it sets up for the future, and one of the things we always talk about when we watch these shows and we watch these movies is, did it connect to the other ones? Will it? How does it play over? How does it bleed over? And I think that this is awesome. I think it's great. I think that they put it in the right spot to set up what they're doing in the future. They brought that character back at a time when it makes sense during a Black Panther movie. I thought it all worked great.
It does, but I feel like they should have made this more of a closed off story and not let it branch out so much. If they made it a more, seclusive story, and because it opened a lot of doors, which is great, but I wasn't there for that.
I couldn't believe that Multiverse of Madness had so much opportunity to affect every single story, and they chose not to.
See, it's reverse, right? It's reverse.
They should have take it. They need to start messing with and setting up stories. I've said it before. That was one of the things that kept us all hooked. Was you give us a scoop here, and we're going to come back for seconds. You just give us a little bread trail, and we'll follow you over here to the show. So I'm very happy with those decisions. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it is funny. You touched on exactly what I was going to say, which is that we all thought that Multiverse of Madness was going to be the movie that set up all these different plot lines for future MCU stuff, and it didn't. Really, Wakanda Forever ended up doing that.
I liked that movie a lot, but that movie was a punch in the dick. You guys are right. There was it was a bit of a letdown with how little it actually affected, and but I do agree that this is one of the better instances of them setting up, but. I mean, God knows how it's going to play out. It could be terrible.
Well, can we do this? I did this before we came on. I ranked the MCU Phase 4 movies.
Oh.
And TV shows or just the films?
MCU? Did I... What?
No, and TV.
Oh, and TV. I thought I said MTV. I was like...
The streaming shows
sorry.
Just movies.
My
MCU movie. No, that's me. On the headphones I'm on. Just MCU films.
Okay, I'm pulling them up right now so I can.
Because I saw it on Twitter, people were ranking them, and they put Wakanda Forever on top, and I'm like, and we're just doing. If you had to say Phase 4 of this year, yes, but we're all forgetting No Way Home.
I was gonna say No Way Home would be my number one.
There's no way any of these movies beat No Way Home for many reasons. Gary. Real quick before I get to my list, I want to see what you want. I want to know what you have to say.
No Way Home was a circle jerk of
Gary
nostalgia.
Has
yes, it's a nostalgia circle jerk. It's all it was. It did nothing.
It felt good, didn't it? Though it felt great.
No, it didn't. It felt like a waste of my time, and then so did Multiverse of Madness. They both felt like a waste of my time, and for different reasons. Multiverse of Madness didn't touch the plot or push the story, and Spider-Man just gave us blue balls and then told us to go home.
I mostly agree with the Doctor Strange thing, but I will not agree with. I mean, I loved Spider-Man. It was everything I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
the Spider-Man
I'm
movies,
with Jahan and Sean here.
I like them
Spider-Man's
less.
my boy.
I like them less in order.
Spider-Man
Homecoming.
are our boys. Let's just say that.
You guys are terrible. All of you are terrible.
Well, I'm going to go through my list real quick, if that's okay.
What if we put all the Batmans in one movie? Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
Well,
yes.
Yes. And they will put at least 2 of them in the Flash movie.
Oh my God! Why do we live in this world? Everything is so bad.
Are they still gonna? Are they gonna let Ezra Miller out of prison to attend the premiere?
That's the plan.
That's another conversation, guys. That's another evening that needs just for that.
Well, let's, Sean, I'll let you say your list. I'm just going to go through really quick the Phase 4 movies in their release order. So we had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and then Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So 7 films in MCU Phase 4.
So we all know.
So how'd you rank them?
We all know number 1 for me, the top number 1. Actually, I'll go backwards because we know where number 1 is. So, and last is Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And then, yeah. Surprisingly, and I had to think about it because I put Eternals ahead of Love and Thunder because
How is that
I thought
true?
Because
how is that possible?
Because it was a better story, put together.
I'm here for you, Sean. I'm here with you.
I'm here to listen.
I would put Eternals last on my list, but Thor Love and Thunder would be next. So I'm right here with you.
Like,
to me, the two are almost interchangeable.
I had Eternals at last, and I was like, wait, Love and Thunder could have done something, and they kind of fell flat for me. Okay, so 7 was Love and Thunder, 6 was Eternals, and 5 I have Multiverse of Madness. 4 I have Black Widow. 3 Shang-Chi, and I thought Shang-Chi and Black Widow are almost on the same page, very close. And then Wakanda Forever at 2, No Way Home. one.
Let's see. I think mine's very similar to you, because I'm going No Way Home as number 1. Yeah, I'd say Wakanda Forever number 2, and then I'm going Shang-Chi, Black Widow. Ooh, no. Ooh, Shang-Chi. I'm going Multiverse of Madness. It went up for me on rewatch.
Well, see,
Then I'm saying
I'm not
Black
basing on
Widow.
rewatch though. I'm basing on how I felt when I first watched it because Multiverse of Madness would probably be higher based on rewatch, but I'm basing it on my first viewings. So
Okay,
a little
fair.
different.
I was really high on Black Widow when I first saw it. I think because I went into it with low expectations. I was like, that's pretty solid. I've been positive on it since it came out. For people that have been listening to the podcast since we started, because that was one of the early ones we covered, I believe. So, yeah, I'm here for Black Widow. I liked Black Widow.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it sounds like you and I have the same first 2 and the same bottom 2. And then the 3 in the middle, I feel like can all kind of.
And
be
it's hard. You can
interchanged.
you can move them around and stuff like that. But Gary's saying No Way Home.
Yeah,
is
no,
not
I would
number
flip
one.
your terrible lists upside down. Without a shadow of a doubt, Eternals is at the bottom of that list with
Definitely.
Black Widow and probably Spider-Man. Black Panther and Thor were probably the best of that list. With
Wait, did you say
Multiverse of
Spider-Man's at the bottom of the
Madness.
list?
put Spider-Man at the bottom?
It's down there. It's down there. at
And
the
I
bottom.
cannot take this list seriously, guys. I have to
Says the
tell
guy
Santa.
who didn't put Eternals at the bottom.
It was close though. It was close.
Yes,
Based
second
on-
to the bottom. So I didn't put
based
Spider-Man
on
at the
Thor
bottom. It's
being what-
second to the bottom.
But based on Thor being the 4th movie, and Eternals being the first, I thought as a first time Eternals movie did much better what the 4th Thor movie did.
I thought Eternals was unwatchable trash that should be deleted from Marvel cinematic history.
So far, it has been. So I agree. Eternals bottom. I didn't like. I wanted to like Eternals really bad. Like it sounded cool.
I
didn't
love
like it.
Kumail Nanjiani. I wanted
I
to
did
like
too.
it so bad. Plus the Loki-ish guy who was all evil and tricksy was awesome. I love that dude.
I love the.
Yeah, honestly, looking at the list of Phase 4 movies, other than No Way Home, Eternals was probably my most anticipated going into it, as far as all the Phase 4 movies go.
I don't like my list. I'm not sure about it, but just from my last couple minutes of me doing this, Eternals. Unfortunately, after that, Shang-Chi. I didn't hate the movie. I liked it. I just felt like its final act was kind of weak. But it introduced some cool characters. I just felt like it wasn't the best. Black Widow, I actually really did enjoy. I also had low expectations, but I thought it was actually really good. Then Doctor Strange, because I liked it on my first watch. It was upsetting how little it connected. And then I got Thor: Love and Thunder. I was higher on that movie than a lot of people. I really enjoyed it a lot. Mostly Christian Bale. Christian Bale did a lot for me in that movie. Gore was so good. And then Wakanda, and then Spider-Man. Okay. So, like, I have a little bit of everybody's list going on here, which is interesting. But, yeah, I didn't realize that was all of Phase 4. Or is that just... No, that's not just this year. That's the whole thing.
Thor and Wakanda, I would say, are also my top 2. Without me ranting about how bad the other ones are. Let's go Thor and Wakanda, my top 2 as well, John.
No, we're going to just say, Gary, your favorite's No Way Home. We're going to be done with that. I'm going to make that statement for you, and we're just stamp it on your head. No Way Home is Gary's favorite movie of all time.
On me, I had to... I had an audio issue with Zencaster.
Can't hear any.
Gary can't hear us, so we're just saying he just said No Way Home is his favorite movie of all time.
John, can you hear me?
I can hear everybody.
We can hear
Except
you.
for Gary. Gary cut out all of a sudden.
I had an audio issue with Zencaster. Gary's mic disconnected from it, so it canceled the recording. So I am unmuting everybody in Discord currently, because that's the issue.
I'm back. It kicked me out as Zencaster.
Yeah, because you said No Way Home was at the bottom of your list. That's
Put me
why.
with Sean, though.
See, like, I knew Gary
Kicked
hated
Sean
that.
and Johan out of Zencaster, too.
We're out of it, too?
We are. What do we have to do?
Tell us what...
I'll edit this
I'm joining back in.
out of the audio, but basically, Jahan, we're gonna have to use your audio side.
I have the backup audio good to go. Yeah.
Okay, because that's gonna be. It stopped recording at 31.
Yeah, I've got the live so it's going to be on YouTube. I can rip that if I have to, but I also have an individual recording going. So we're triple authenticated recording here. Not going to lose it.
So we'll just mute everybody within, or excuse me, unmute everybody within Discord.
So we don't need to be in Zencastr?
No.
Okay.
I just canceled it. So we'll just use this audio, Jahan.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
No Zencastr. All right.
It's all good. That's why we have redundancies.
Everyone's unmuted now.
But yeah, no, I knew Gary hated No Way Home. Bottom of the list, I was like, damn.
No,
but
it's
or
not
second
bottom.
to bottom.
Second to
I was
bottom
like,
and
damn.
maybe third to bottom because I think honestly,
Mostly I'm
it's probably
surprised.
Eternals and then Black Widow and then Spider-Man.
That's what was throwing me. I was surprised that because you also really didn't like Black Widow, and so I was surprised. I was just surprised by the ranking. But no, we all have.
She had to go to so many people for help in that movie. She should have carried it by herself.
She could have. Yeah, she didn't get. They didn't do her right. They didn't do justice by her. But hey, it was still pretty cool what she did in the Red Room. But anyways, man, see, don't put a bunch of Marvel nerds in a room and tell them to rank stuff.
Well, here's what we'll do, because at this point we've talked a little bit about some things from Wakanda Forever. We've talked around the spoilers. We've ranked our Phase 4s. I feel like we've done a good job giving some impressions, so we can go ahead and transition into a more spoilery discussion, if that's okay with everybody.
I got so many things to say.
We are
Where do we
now,
start, guys? Where do we start?
About 35 minutes into our podcast, so let's rip off the spoiler band-aid. So we'll do a little countdown here. So spoilers beginning in 5, 4.
Wait. Are we spoiling Black Adam?
2. There's
Wakanda
not much to
Forever!
spoil in that one. And 1. Okay.
All right, Wakanda Forever spoilers.
Spoilers are on the table.
So I really enjoyed it. Right off the bat, I'll just jump into it. I really enjoyed. Well, I mean, I didn't enjoy it. It was horrible. It was awful. But obviously, I respect what they did with his death. They don't really say exactly what happened, but it seems like maybe he also died of cancer in this movie. In the beginning, I felt like they handled it with care.
It's definitely unspecified illness of some sort.
I thought it was very beautiful how they addressed it.
The purple Marvel roll that was all clips from Black Panther and all clips of Chadwick Boseman.
In
the Marvel
silence.
Studios roll in
Oh, that
silence
was amazing.
Oh my god.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't want to spoil that earlier because you don't want that spoiled.
See, I blocked that out because
That's when the first tear drops when you see that. You're like, what? This is amazing.
Every single movie in history is defined by its music, and often you set the tone in the beginning during the credits, and they had a moment of silence, and that spoke volumes. It was crazy. Yeah, you're right. That was a very touching moment.
And the whole funeral sequence is moving and emotional in itself. But for me, watching it, like, I wasn't sitting there shedding tears, but I was like, I'm sitting there thinking like, this is very emotional. But when the intro started that y'all are speaking of, it was goosebumps. Like, it was it's almost like the quiet or the silence in that moment was tangible in a weird way.
The 3 times I maybe got emotional was that intro, the coffin going up, like with his Black Panther thing. I was just like, this is interesting too, and just the way that not that time when they're going up, but showing how it was and had the Black Panther, just how they were going to bury him or what they were going to do with it. I thought that was really like emotional, and then obviously we'll get to it towards the end.
The difference with me is when I saw the coffin going up, I couldn't help but think that like at the 400-foot mark, the body was going to fall out and crash through the concession table, and everyone was going to be like, "Oh no!" because you can't stop it from that height, That's where my brain was at.
That's the most Gary take.
But when it comes to spoilers, I guess we are in spoilers. I wasn't expecting another funeral.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, the fact that they did it, man, good on them. They really.
I was shocked. I was like,
I was shocked too.
They're going dark. Like they're going dark. Like,
they're developing a very interesting and strong character, is what they're doing.
Angela Bassett is great in both Black Panther and in this one. Like, she is excellent, and especially in this one as a grieving mother, I thought she was wonderful. I would say, for me personally, maybe I'm a heartless fool, but her death for me in this one did not strike me emotionally that much. To me, it felt like a plot device that needed to happen to get Shuri from point A to point B. Like it needed to happen for Shuri, but it was not an emotional thing for me as a viewer.
The Queen's death, I completely agree. It was to supercharge Shuri's character with motivation, hate, revenge, and power. And to see what she did with all of those new tools when she's supercharged. It wasn't as heart-wrenching or as moving as T'Challa's death, and I don't think the intention was for it to be. However, it's still a pretty powerful moment, drowning to death at the hands of Namor.
And still sad when your son dies a year prior, and then the mom dies. Like, that's pretty sad. That's in any family.
It was pretty sad, but like it was a wartime death, and those tend to hit a little softer because when that kind of stuff's going on, the rules are different. I don't know. It was a little lighter think for me
with this war. Did you really think that Namor was going to be the main villain? Because I was expecting someone else to show up, and I don't know why. I expected that because I didn't really look
from the trailers and everything. I
didn't watch all of them. Like I watched one. I didn't want to, and I feel like if the movie is going to be that long, I was like, someone else has to enter the realm. Like there has to be enter player 3.
My whole understanding of the movie from the jump was that it was going to be his people versus the Wakandans.
So I could argue that there was a third bad guy in the international governments, just the united governments against the world.
That's fair.
France, like what's going? What are they villainizing France? Or I was like, they're doing this. They're not making up a fake country like most places do when they like Top Gun Maverick. Like their adversary was a fake country. They just put like generically. They put France as the bad villain.
Villainized a Western European country on screen. That's great because you know what? They're not that great. They do horrible things across the world constantly, and and they addressed it, which is cool to see in mainstream.
Also made the U.S. government look bad too. I mean, they were in the cahoots. It seems like they're in the cahoots with France and other things.
All of the white folk in the UN room were kind of like, oh no, like looking at each other, like they were all in on it. It was like,
and that's when Angela Bassett's almost at her best in that too. Like that whole scene.
I love that speech. I love that speech.
Let's not forget, colonizers were bad guys in Namor's story, so we got to see colonizers eat crap there. Then Okoye showed up later and called what's-his-face a colonizer. So, yeah, we shit all over Americans. We shit all over Western European countries.
Spanish conquest.
This
colonialism.
It was fun, man. I enjoyed all that.
Yeah, they attacked Spanish colonialism. And then the colonialism in Haiti. And, like, man, they talked about a lot of stuff. It was cool.
Coogler nailed it. Like they gave Coogler the reins, and he did it. Like that. I really did like how they did that.
The same guy that did Black Panther 1.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he has particular experience dealing with discrimination. I don't know if you guys know about that.
No, but isn't he behind? He was behind also the Creed movies.
Oh, nice. That makes sense. Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
He also directed Fruitvale Station, which is another Michael B. Jordan movie that's very good.
So you guys know I live in a small mountain town. There's not many people. My showing today had like maybe 12 people in the theater on the Saturday that the movie came out. It's a very small crowd. During the Michael B. Jordan cameo, I clapped. I couldn't help myself. I clapped out loud audibly. It was like, yeah, no one else did, and so I felt like an ass. But what a cameo. Love to see Michael.
That was such a good cameo. I don't know why. I understand logically that it couldn't have happened. I almost expected to see Chadwick in that chair. Like when they were doing it, I was like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but like my mind was just following the story and
they filmed it already, John.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I just like half expected it to be, and when it wasn't, and when it was fucking Killmonger, that was a good moment. I really enjoyed.
I honestly didn't like that being who she sees. I wish it was honestly maybe her mom or even dad, and then you have the silhouettes of Chadwick or something and everyone else behind her and stuff like that. I wish they used that as another tribute to him when you're in that afterlife, like because we don't really see it. They should have treated that's where they also are,
That's who she wanted to see also. That's who she expected to see.
And I expected there to be like a Panther that was Chadwick, and that
But yeah,
I also didn't expect it, but I appreciated what it was because of where she was spiritually. She saw the spirit of vengeance of Wakanda, who is Killmonger, which I thought
I
was
also
sick.
was taking a guess here, and this is just a guessy guess, and I'm glad you guys are here to guess with me. Killmonger forced himself to be the Black Panther. She forced herself to be Black Panther. They decided that they were going to be Black Panthers. Could that be a reason why she saw Killmonger and not her family? Maybe just the two of them are linked in a special way.
It's worth noting from the first movie, when you go to the ancestral plane, you see the past Black Panthers. Like, that's the whole point, is you see like the past kings, because usually the king is the Black Panther. So you see the past Black Panthers, the past kings of Wakanda. So I think in that sense, it makes sense why Shuri didn't see her mom, because I agree with you, Sean. Like, that's somebody who I thought maybe she would see. Killmonger was a surprise, but I feel like they kind of killed a few birds with one stone in the sense of, A, you got like a big surprising cameo, which is always fun in these big MCU movies. Yeah. But B, I feel like they were able to make it make sense for her character because of where she was at, the vengeance, and then the fact that that's always in the back of her mind when which, obviously we're in spoilers and we haven't outright said it, Shuri becomes the new Black Panther in this movie. And, it helps her come to grips with like where she's at as the Black Panther and what kind of Black Panther she wants to be. So I feel like the Killmonger stuff worked for her character, but also gave us some cool fan service moments. Yeah. I understand, Sean, where you're at with it, because I kind of had the first thought as well. I'm like, whoa, like she's seeing Killmonger here. Surely there's going to be somebody else that shows up here or takes the reins from him. But no, it's just an extended sequence with her and Killmonger, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so I liked it a lot because, yeah, you're right. She saw where she was emotionally. It was vengeance. But, like, on one hand, he encouraged her to take vengeance. On the other hand, she knows Killmonger and it was concerned that that's who she saw. And maybe that also helped correct her course because she was like, man, I don't want to be that guy. I thought it was great.
But they wanted vengeance. They should have just brought in the Batman. Just have a Batman just crossover without vengeance.
Well, Batman should come to Marvel because he's a Marvel character.
Speaking of Batman, I can use that as a segue back to a point that Sean was making earlier. How, Sean, you thought there was going to be some sort of other big bad that came about, and it's just funny because I feel like with these comic book movies, or really just big blockbuster movies in general, we've kind of become trained for this as viewers, right? Like, whenever you have good guy A fighting against good guy B, typically they end up pairing together for enemy. See Batman versus Superman, right? You have the battle between Batman versus Superman, and then you get Doomsday.
And they technically had a third, but it wasn't an actual person they fought. It was just like an ideology and like a country. Like, it wasn't really the third player wasn't really in the battle that they were having. So,
or even Godzilla versus Kong, an entire movie that's set upon these two giant creatures fighting each other, and of course there ends up being a third party that they fight. And so in this, now granted, Namor is more of a anti-hero or has more roots in villainy than some of these others that we've said. So
he's Black Adam. That's what he is. He's Black Adam.
You're right, exactly. And so, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I was like half expecting somebody else to show up, but I thought it worked. I thought that the battle that he was having with his role in against Wakanda and how that paralleled with the battle Shuri was having and where her character needed to go, it all made sense to me. I thought it was all pretty solid.
Wakanda and their city underwater, it's like this. They share the same ideologies and everything like those. They have more alike than differences. And I would say this, we didn't get to talk about, but Namor is a badass fighter.
He is.
Some of his moves and with his wings, I was like, when he was just flying up and like destroying things, I'm like, this guy.
I thought
is
the wing
awesome.
feet were kind of silly at first, but then it was dope.
They're silly in the comics too, to be fair. Like, he's just got little wings coming out of his ankles. It's kind of dumb, and it doesn't make any sense from a physics standpoint at all.
But he's a god, pretty much, to them.
It makes a lot of sense because gods in those South American and Mexican Hispanic cultures tend to have like feathered wings, even if they're like they have snakes that have feathered wings and stuff like that. So it's really interesting that it worked better with the new aesthetic.
Well, it's like but they said it's like a mutation, so they're making him a mutant.
He's a mutant,
which is
now.
Weird. Yeah, but it's weird though. Like, where do the wings come from though? Like, out of how his people became what they became. How did he get that mutation? Just like where'd the wing aspect come from? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
X gene could be anything.
It's when he drank those magic. It's when his mom drank the magic rocks and then pooped him out. Is when he got those special wings. That's the mutation. Was the
I'm just like curious of like what created it. Like as in like what was in those things that they had like they drank. Just curious of the makeup of it. Is what I'm. Just
they accidentally gathered. They gathered a patch of herb that had bird shit on it. It got mixed in.
Did like the way that and it's obviously heavy CG, but the way Namor moved in the air, like the way that he kind of darted from place to place. I don't know what it was about it, but it really made it look like
a hummingbird.
The flash of the air.
Yeah, like and almost like his center of gravity was within his ankles. Like it looked like that could be propelling him from place to place. It was interesting. A lot of kind of darting.
It was done in a way where that your eyes believed it, which is pretty cool. Sometimes that stuff looks hokey.
Kids are gonna love him. Kids are gonna be like, that is so cool.
Hummingbird is a perfect comparison.
Yes. I think they did a great job not showing his stupid wing feet. Most of the time when they showed it, they were like 300 feet away, or it was like nighttime and you saw the silhouette. And it wasn't until the fight at the very end that Shuri like grabs a chunk of it, and then that's pretty much like all you really need. I thought they did a good, because the more you show of it, the worse that's gonna.
I was waiting for that moment. I really wanted to see detailed how they designed it and what it looked like on the screen, and so I noticed that they weren't really showing it for many reasons.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly like in the comics, to Drew's point, they're stupid in the comics. There's stupid little wings on his stupid little feet. It's never cool. I'm glad they ignored it.
I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to say they looked delicious.
Yeah.
Right? I could see the drum. I could see the flat. Like, those were wings.
They were detailed. Yeah, they're pretty spot on. And speaking to powers, like Shuri's powers, Black Panther is probably the strongest Black Panther we've seen, right? Like her strength, they didn't have strength like that before, right?
They had some.
Not
punch,
like Hulk strength.
That punch that she did to that dummy was a lot stronger than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
a lot.
Well, the little flower does give you superhuman strength and speed.
But hers. The new flower, the new flower is a hybrid of the Wakandan flower and the Namor flower. Maybe that's why she's stronger.
But I loved that part of her character too, because as somebody who's been a technological genius, and that's been our introduction to her, is that, and then the flower is legitimately like 3D printed, essentially. Jahan, shout out to your.
That's not how 3D printing works. I was upset, but that's okay.
No, I'm pretty sure that they would not lie in this movie. That is absolutely how.
As
3D
someone
printing
who's
works.
A professional 3D printer,
is there no 3D printed fruit? You can't do 3D printed food.
You can, but it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like that.
But it does. It is created that fast, though, in real life. Absolutely is. Printing that fast, right?
Let's not forget about Wakandan's advanced technology. That's exactly what
fair.
Do.
That's what everyone was after in general. That's what they wanted.
I could literally spend hours picking apart what was wrong with their 3D printers, but I'm not going to.
Because you can't, because it's Wakandan technology.
That's a whole separate podcast. That's a whole separate podcast, and I'm sure that the listenership on the 3D printing
in movies and why it's wrong with Johanna
Tech Edition.
I just want to say,
let's do a podcast, Jahan, where you talk about what's wrong about 3D printing, and I'll talk about what's wrong about law enforcement. But we'll only tackle really specific movies that have 3D printing and law enforcement in them.
Oh boy,
I can name 5.
Maybe just this one.
It does, though, seem fitting that Shuri, who, as the Black Panther, within her suit and everything, has more technology integrated into it, and that her flower was artificially created as well. Like, it all kind of fits for her as, like, the more techno-savvy Black Panther.
It did.
And was her helmet already pre-made, it seemed like? Did it have her helmet, like, sitting aside? Is that, like, a Where did her helmet come from?
It
when
did
they
seem
have it?
like she had a few examples, and that was the one maybe she had hidden. Like maybe she always knew that one day this would happen. I
That's
don't
what
know.
I was. That really struck me. I was like, where did that come from like that?
It
I
ca-
really liked Ironheart's first outfit design. I thought it was absolutely awesome. When
Well,
she
let's-
came
let-
flying out of the warehouse, I was totally into it. It looked badass.
Well, let's talk about this as a whole, Gary, because this is one of the things that I avoided in the non-spoilers. Is that I wanted to talk about Rai and Riri, Rai,
Riri, yeah, Riri.
Riri.
Riri Williams.
I wanted
right?
to talk about Riri as well because I thought she was awesome. Like I wasn't expecting to like her as much in general as I did. Now, sorry, Gary, sorry to cut you off because going back to her suit or the initial suit, which had its like kind of primitive look, similar to Tony Stark's first Iron Man suit in a sense too. Because I really liked it as well. Anyway, continue on. I just wanted to shout out, Riri Williams introduced here, Ironheart.
Love Ironheart. Just first of all, let's just get it out there. Loved Ironheart. I want to see some more Ironheart. I didn't think she was great in this movie. She kind of reminded me of Tyrese in the Fast and the Furious movies, where she was always just trying to cut one-liners or like like, oh no, I'm in a prison underwater. Like, yeah, we know, and it's crazy, but you're acting like Tyrese. Calm down.
She'll get her own series though, so
Yeah, when she has her own series, I think she's going to be awesome. I'm totally into the outfit, the look. The end, though, this is what I was trying to say. I loved her costume, first one. The second one, I hate the second version.
Yes, that's what I'm with you on.
I couldn't
Yes.
stand. It looks like a plastic like 90s Mustang turned into an Iron Man costume. It looks terrible. It's like a small plastic Gundam.
If you look at like the new Transformers series on Paramount Plus, it looks like one of the really shiny like female Transformers that they built that was like based on a motorcycle, like those shiny ones. It looked like a Playmobil toy, to be honest, too. Like just
And it was just, if that would have
generic.
If that would have been the costume she was introduced in, I'm not sure how. I probably wouldn't have liked it very much. But the fact that they introduced her in one that looked so much cooler,
Yeah.
it made that worse for me.
So I was really excited for Ironheart. I've known about her and where she comes from in the comics, and I looked into it because I heard that she was being a thing, and like I was really interested. I think she's a really cool character, but so in the beginning, I felt like she was kind of rushed through and sidelined a little too much. I just want a little bit more of her like flavor, because like she has a thing for Tony Stark, you know what I mean? Like she looks up to him as like a tech idol, and she wants to make her own Iron Man suit, and it's sick. And I thought we were gonna get a bit more of that journey, but
Not when you have a Disney Plus series. You gotta hold that. You gotta save that stuff.
yeah, I hope there's more of the journey in there, because like she already had like a hybrid suit, and it was more advanced than I was expecting already. And I didn't get to see as much of that journey as I wanted. But yeah, her first suit was cool. Her character was cool. Her second Gundam suit I thought was kind of dope in its own way. But I gave like the looks a pass because she built it in Wakanda, so like it had more of their like sleek design features in it, more smoothed out and kind of stuff like that.
But did you like the design that Shuri made for her warriors? I didn't like that design either, though.
I thought
that
it looked so cool until the visor came open. When the visor came open, it looked awful.
I don't know
The
why
visor
they're
was
going this
closed.
like strange tech route with like the shape of the helmets
So
and stuff like that.
the
Gave me
helmets-
Predator vibes.
The helmets
That's
are
what
based.
I felt like.
So they're actually based off of a traditional African design.
Which I'm sure, but they don't convert well when you want to make them super high tech. It doesn't work. I would have them bring them down a notch.
I didn't like them on the shelf. I loved them in motion on people. And yeah, when the visor was open, they looked a little wonky. But when they were like just in the costume, I thought it was pretty dope. If I was going to design a Wakandan version of an Iron Man suit, of an exosuit, I don't know what I would come up with, but I feel like they did a pretty decent job. But that being aside, it is a very crazy design. It's pretty different.
I didn't have as many negative thoughts about what it looked like compared to what Gary and Sean were saying. However, I think part of the problem is that we don't really even see it until it's in use. So you really only see a CGI blur darting around. Like, you don't get the cool Tony Stark walking through as machines are placing the armor on him and see like really what the suit looks like. So you really only see it in CGI motion, which I think does a disservice to the suit as a whole. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would like to see a little bit more of it. I thought it was cool that Okoye got one, and I really enjoyed her scenes throughout the movie versus the hammerhead shark guy. And I loved that final battle where she was like, "Warrior!" And like they look and they fight. And like they have like an honorable battle between warriors. That was sick. That was top tier sick.
I will say one thing with that battle on their ship. Did y'all notice when Shuri's fighting the more on the island, there's like a quality change or something when they go back and forth from the battle on the ship into the island? I felt like two separate movies at some point.
That's fair because the ship battle was probably done on a soundstage. And I think
it looked night and day. I was like, and they're going back and forth. And I watched this on IMAX too.
What I saw, but I thought that Shuri looked really weird moving in the Black Panther suit during that last fight. She's
just real skinny, dog. She's just real skinny.
I think that was CG. I think it was CG moving around. I'm not even sure if it was her. That whole final...
Yeah, because remember, she did get hurt. She got hurt and she got sidelined. Remember, they had to shut down production for like 4 months.
It almost looked like the way that Shuri Black Panther was moving. She was so thin and so lanky. It almost looked like Spider-Man, like a CG Spider-Man moving around on the island.
It didn't look like a female in a Black Panther costume at all.
It did.
Yeah,
it looked like a little CG flippy monster guy.
I don't want to get into the personal politics of things in the movie, but there's just a lot of stories about Letitia Wright and who played Shuri and things that happened during the movie. And I think that could all play into why a lot of her stuff, especially in suit or whatever, was very CG looking. Maybe she wasn't there. They had stand-ins or such. I don't know.
But she was sidelined for an injury, apparently. She did hurt herself.
I actually got annoyed at one point in the movie whenever their masks kept coming open, like they would hologram up and then hologram down, because you can talk with a mask on. You can. I know that it's a movie and you're an actor and you want your face to be seen for your Screen Actors Guild or for your money or for your blah blah whatever, but every single helmet having the exact same hologram face mask interface to talk was disjarring and annoying. Just say your words.
They have external speakers somewhere. They're like the Power Rangers.
Stop the thing. We know who's in there. Stop taking your face up and down. We know who's in the fucking costume now.
It's like superhero movie 101. I mean, this dates back to, I think, the most egregious of Spider-Man 3 and Topher Grace and the Venom and how it kept pulling back to see his face unnecessarily.
His face inside Venom or whatever.
Classic. Yep.
And that's exactly what it felt like, Drew. You nailed it.
Could you imagine if they showed inside Batman's cowl? It's like
Iron Man didn't have to take off his mask every time he talked. The camera would cut to the inside of the helmet,
which was awesome. Cool.
Yeah, that's right. Don't just do the same thing for every character. It's really cheesy. Stop.
They did that about Riri, so
they're all different costumes, they're different outfits. Make them have a different technological way to work. You know, they don't have to hologram fade. They can slide in or something.
So let's talk about another one of the big spoiler things that we avoided earlier, which is the Martin Freeman storyline, in which, he's there alongside Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who shows up. Which, first off, it was really funny to me because she had a much different look, or I feel like more stylized look in this one that's obviously going to be like her more mainstay look moving forward in the MCU.
More comic booky.
Yeah, and I remember when they announced the Thunderbolts movie at Comic-Con and they had the big image of all the characters, some people were like, who is that one? And because we couldn't tell if that was Valentina or if that was a different character, and then it became clear it was Valentina. And then seeing her in this, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, she's rocking that look that we saw in the Thunderbolts concept art image. I thought that was interesting.
Did they make note that was his ex-wife?
Yes.
Right? Okay, I did pick up on that. They only said it once, and I was like, did I hear that right? And that's what they're playing. Okay.
And she was flirting with him the whole time. And then,
using him.
It was pretty funny.
Come by your house and jump on your Peloton. That shit was funny.
That shit was funny. I was like, damn! That's aggressive.
No, I do like her in that role, and that was cool to see her. I do like her role in the MCU.
I think Thunderbolts is going to be very, very, very good. Like top tier, one of the best Marvel projects. I think Thunderbolts is going to be.
But you didn't like Black Widow, did you?
No.
So I don't know if you're gonna like
the reason I didn't like Black Widow is because I thought they cheapened her character so much by making her go out and get all this help. I didn't think that Black Widow needed all that help. These other people were more likely to seek her out and ask for her help, right? Because she's Black Widow. She's badass. And I thought that with her being her last appearance in her last movie and on her way out, I thought they just did her wrong, and they built a lot of other characters at her expense. And I didn't think that was. I didn't like any of that.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that.
But I do like the actors in it, and I like their performances in it. I just don't like the movie as a whole, what it did. So I'm excited for those side characters, and I'm excited for Thunderbolts. I think the cast looks awesome, and I think the potential...
More Red Guardian, please. More Red Guardian.
Oh, yeah.
You got more Red Guardian. You got some more Bucky. You got Captain Un-America.
U.S. Agent.
The Patriot.
U.S. Agent. Oh, my God. You mean Racist Cap? Yeah, I love Racist Cap.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be so
Ghost,
good.
right? Ghost is part of that.
Ghost. Oh man, I've been excited to see her again. I love Ghost. I love
Yelena and Taskmaster.
And Yelena and Taskmaster. Dude, it's a sick ensemble. I really like the setup that they did in this. It's always funny to hear Shuri call him a colonizer. I laughed every time it happened. And then him literally, I mean, he was committing treason. Like, I understand, how we all want things to go down, but doing what he did is treason. And so
when you work for the government, you don't get to decide what's right and wrong. Unless you're an ex-president, and then treason doesn't matter. But we won't talk about that either.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. But I like that he stayed an ally to Wakanda. But the whole time he was being tricked by Dreyfus,
his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Which this is the to me the most egregious, like, just making sure you're setting up some seeds for Phase 5 and continuing on. I'm not saying that's all bad, but it was there for the greater MCU.
Well, there's a lot of runtime, a lot of screen time, a lot of screen time for those two.
Yes,
especially him. A lot of screen time. So,
can I ask a silly question? Sean, I don't know if you even know this, but Ross, Martin Freeman's character, with the name Ross, is there any relation between him and General Thunderbolt Ross, or are they just have a last name in common, but they're no relation there otherwise?
I think it's no relation, but I can just figure it out real quick.
No, I doubt it. I think it's probably just a coincidence, but I was thinking that when they kept referring to him as Ross. I'm like, there's another major MCU character, Ross, because I assume that Martin Freeman will be in the Thunderbolts movie, now that we know his tie to Valentina.
But Harrison Ford's going to be General Ross, though. Yeah, Harrison Ford will be in that.
Which is crazy.
He's replacing the late great William Hurt.
I'm going on record to say that I think that is bad casting.
I agree too. I love Harrison Ford. I'll watch him at anything, but they didn't have to go that big of a name. They didn't have to do that.
It's a good get, man. I'm going to give him the shot. But that's just
they are not related, by the way. They are not related.
No, but interestingly enough, Ross did work for General Ross for a short time. They were on the same projects together, so you had Ross and Ross, no relation.
Which is a funny thing to say.
You think that Ross and Ross go shopping at Ross?
They have to. It's mandatory.
And are best friends, but Ross from Friends.
They only watch the Ross spinoff.
Oh, man. I'd watch that.
But it's indeed bad casting, but we'll see. He'll pull it off, but...
I disagree.
They might kill him off. They might just kill him off, though. Kill off that character at that age. Like, bring him for one thing and then be done with.
He's going to be Red Hulk.
I don't know if they're going to do it.
No, please, no.
I don't think they can do that. I don't know if they can do that.
I'm looking at Wikipedia for this movie, by the way. I didn't realize that Trevor Noah is the voice of the AI. Was that common knowledge?
Yeah, that's right. I knew he was it was billed part of the movie, but I didn't know what he was.
Hell yeah, Trevor Noah, get some.
I did not notice it was him.
That's dope. Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Trevor Noah made me think of this because he speaks like 17 languages or whatever in real life. But I really loved how they handled the subtitles. This movie had a lot of foreign language speaking in it, and they color coded them because they are switching back and forth between languages left and right, and they're just like, deal with it. But like, you know, all the Atlantean people are blue speech, and then
they speak
Wakanda's
ancient
yellow
Mesopotamian Mayan, which is super awesome. They speak a dead language
they
from
speak
over
an actual
like 300
native language
years ago. I said I want to talk about that too. That was totally awesome. All of his people are decked out with Mayan art. Their walls are covered in Mayan paintings. They have underwater Mayan temples. They went all in with this Aztec, Mayan, Mesopotamian influence. It is
the costume designers and the set designers said they looked at so much history and took
did.
so much.
Oh my god, you
so
can tell.
good. It was so good. It works.
Everything has some. Yeah, it does. It's
So
beautiful.
many ancient Olmec designs with the Olmec jewelry and the feather headdresses and necklaces. It was just every time you would see one of these characters, they kept on giving. For any of the main characters, some of the background ones were just swimming around in breeches or whatever.
So can we all agree like this move was pretty brilliant of how much they changed Namor for the MCU? Like they pretty much made him a brand new character, not based on what he was before, which were
This is not
that's what I
my
was saying
Namor.
earlier. Yeah.
This is a brand new Namor. And I like their Namor more than I ever liked my Namor.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I never had a Namor, and I was really pleased with the character that I got to know with everybody else. So I was apprehensive about all the changes, because that's always, you never know how that's going to go, even though I don't know the character from before. Like, who knows? They could screw it up. It's a new creation. But it worked. It worked in every way.
I overall liked Namor and the portrayal. I just think that the Namor's storyline, and especially when it really, I can't think of Talokan. Talokan? Is that how you pronounce their
like
land?
Talokulon.
I think you said it right. One of them.
You did it, and it's really close to Tenecticlon, which is fun.
Teleko. Yeah, hail from Telokon.
I'm not saying I outright disliked everything about it or anything. I just felt like that was the storyline that was the biggest slog to get
Would
through.
Would you say that it's the storyline that sank Drew?
Oh boy. Actually, and I know you can't trust everything on Wikipedia, but I am laughing. It says the actor who played Namor learned a Mayan language for the role, which is cool, and that shows. And then it says, as well as how to swim. So I do find it to be a little bit ironic if they actually cast somebody who did not know how to swim as Namor.
That's hilarious. What a good actor. You can't even tell he doesn't know how to swim when he's swimming.
How do you learn how to fly?
That's the real trick. It's called acting, John.
It was enthused to include Namor's really unique features, including his ankle wings and pointy ears.
That's what I was going to say. Is he learned how to fly because of the wings on his feet. They actually went out and cast a real guy who had wings on his feet.
Born with that actual mutation.
Yeah, they figured it'd be easier if they're going to teach him how to swim. They could just teach him how to fly.
Yeah, they just started making real X-Men. It's way cheaper than
you just drop him in the water, drop him in the air.
There is one other major spoiler moment from the film that we have not talked about yet. We started to speak about it pre-recording, and Sean, you were right to quickly shut that down because it needed to stay for on the air. But it sounds like there may be some varied opinions of the mid-credit scene. I, however, thought it was extremely powerful, and as somebody who kept it together for pretty much the whole movie, this was the moment that brought me down.
Yeah, and while
felt my emotions.
Since we're going that way, let's talk about something we didn't talk about really much at all, because she's not in the movie as much as I would have liked. Lupita Nyong'o, and her just absolutely badass character. They find her. She hasn't been to Wakanda for years. She's in Haiti, working with children because she's done being a spy. She's done with war, but then she's called upon, and she is
extremely notable.
Badass.
She did not show up for T'Challa's funeral in the movie. That was really notable that she was not present.
Which we find out later why.
Find out later,
right?
And she just, I mean, she's like top tier spy, dude. She speaks like 5 languages, probably more, seamlessly.
50.
Yeah, she probably speaks like 50 languages. On screen, she speaks about 5 seamlessly, and it sounds like she might actually know a lot of it in real life, because her pronunciation is great. She infiltrates the Atlantean society somehow.
And saves Shuri, and then just kills one of her own. Like,
yeah, and then she single-handedly breaks in and frees Shuri and Riri. Because and then like when they're calling her the war dog, and all that kind of stuff, man, it just really lets you see how badass that character is, and it makes you
imagine if she was the Black Panther. Imagine if she was.
That would have been
how much more badass. Man.
But you find out why she put it down. She was done killing because she kills. They asked her to come back, and she killed somebody during her coming back. It's not like she was like, "Oh, I don't kill anymore." She did what she had
lethal.
to do. Yeah,
she's like James Bond.
She's sick. Honestly, I can't overstate how cool her character is. But yeah, let's talk about the thing. Mid-credit scene.
They finally recasted T'Challa. Technically, that's what it is. That's what it is. People are like, recast him. They did. They recasted T'Challa. Yeah. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a scene for Shuri going to visit Nakia and discovers that Nakia and T'Challa had a son, and he has been purposefully raised away from Wakanda. That T'Challa did not want his son being raised around with the pressure of the throne and being king and all of that. And for me, just everything about this worked. From a story standpoint, it worked. From an emotional standpoint, it worked. It like was just such a good closing moment for me, for all the implications it may or may not have on the MCU as a whole, but also just on the Black Panther storyline. I thought it was handled so well.
I agree. So their relationship, like it's going to be a thing in the first movie. It's going to happen. But Chadwick Boseman died, and they didn't know what to do. They insinuate this whole relationship, but they do it really well in this end credit scene. And she explains why she wasn't at the funeral, because he had prepared her and his son, who apparently he's had a hand in raising secretly, for his death. They knew everything that was going to happen. And
that's what was so powerful. The whole explaining that T'Challa had taken the time to let them know, to really talk to him and to that he would be okay when he was gone, and that even that his mother in the film, the Queen, got to meet the son.
That was really cool.
That they alluded to all of that. I don't know. I just thought it was so good, and it made it more emotional for me that the kid looked like Chadwick. Like he looked like a young Chadwick Boseman. I thought it was pretty uncanny. It was like almost made it that much more difficult, like from an emotional standpoint.
And he had a cute little baby speech impediment. It was adorable, man.
And I'm on the exact other side of the fence. I go to a different summer camp than the rest of these guys. As soon as she had the kid, I started rolling my eyes. It was like, oh my god, a secret prince, a secret king. Is his name T'Challa? No, my god, his name really is T'Challa too. Oh my god, I'm walking out of this fucking theater now. And I left, and I thought that was the stupidest mid-credit scene I've ever seen.
I obviously, Gary's outspoken on that one. But you can feel how, you can have your opinion for sure.
Thanks.
I mean,
but that's
I'm not trying to give you permission, but
But that's how you also protect one of your IPs, by keeping T'Challa around, so you can make T'Challa products or have him around.
Business move.
A business move, yeah, because you got to keep him, and we're gonna see a T'Challa Black Panther. I think sooner than later. I don't think we're gonna have to wait that long, because if they do more time jumps or they do anything, because that kid was how old? Not that young, to be honest.
He was
young.
Like, he looked like six.
He's
or
supposed
seven.
to be about
6 or 7.
6 or 7, and that's not like that's. I thought it would have been a younger version.
In the
like
span of an
MCU,
MCU, it's not very much time.
A whole time jump pretty quickly.
I mean, they recast Cassie like 12 times for Ant-Man. So,
and by the time we get a Fantastic Four movie, he'll be like 55. Okay, so
Killmonger has come back to life like 6 times in the comics, so let's not forget about Killmonger. We could always get more Michael B. Jordan.
I would like that.
As long as he's died on Wakandan ancestral soil, which he did, he can be revived through rituals. So he could always come back. I don't think he will, because I think they would have done it already. But the fact that his spirit is still around makes me think that there's chance in the future we could always get more Michael B. Jordan cameos.
Or like a what if, or what if another what if Disney Plus series about him.
But no, I'm excited. I mean, one of the things that is really cool, one of the coolest storylines in the comics is King T'Challa, the Black Panther, and Queen Aurora, who is Storm.
Hell yeah, bro.
I mean, Storm and T'Challa ruling Wakanda is one of the sickest comic book storylines ever. And it'd be cool if maybe that could still happen.
You still can? Yeah, you can still do it because X-Men, we don't know how old Storm will be. By the time they introduce her, it could be a teenage Storm. I mean, you could do that.
The young goddess awakens in Africa. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I'd watch that movie.
And, I think setting up a secret prince is pretty cool. Maybe someone finds out and there's some turmoil or there's some type of problem. But like, Shuri, you can't be the Black Panther. T'Challa had a son. This is not how it works here.
See, I thought it was touching, and I liked it a lot. But at first, like, there was a part of my brain, I was like, oh, man, like, this is kind of weird. But then it made sense to me because I thought about, like, they weren't, as far as we know, they weren't married. So technically, that kid's a bastard. And so that, that explains a little bit of the, like, keeping him sidelined and hidden. Maybe it wasn't okay. Maybe it wasn't approved. Maybe there's something of that nature. To explain why the kid was kept a secret a little bit better. But I really did like that they explained that Chadwick T'Challa helped raise the kid. That meant a lot to me.
And real quick, because we talked about T'Challa and Storm, what about Namor and Shuri? It seemed like there were some sparks flying there.
It did seem like there was chemistry.
Do you think we're gonna revisit something between them two?
I mean, maybe.
I think we almost have to, because of what they set in motion of Wakanda and Namor's kingdom versus the world, basically. Those characters are going to have to interact again. And as far as whether we see an actual relationship develop, I don't think we will, but I think that Namor will just always have that spark, and probably with most of the female leaders he comes across, I bet Namor is somewhat charming.
Think he's going to be a heartbreaker.
I think so. He gives off heartbreaker vibes.
No, I think Shuri will be the heartbreaker, and then he's going to go crazy, and then he's going to just go after the whole world.
I'm ready to see Namor take over the world. I love, people. That's a good story, is how bad people have always abused and taken over water and taken advantage of the sea and its resources and polluted. I always like to see the story of nature fighting back and Namor leading the ocean to destroy
Gary, I have a great movie for you, and it's called Avatar. And Way of Water, and it's all about that and more. So you're in
for people swimming, because I saw that today.
You're in for more environmentally friendly type movies and proactive.
I just appreciate in Avatar that they use the same thing, the same organ to ride animals as they do to have sex.
Just like us. It's just like us. You should see me ride a horse. I was really happy though to see all these people, all the blue-skinned people getting work, because I know how hard it is in Hollywood. They haven't had work since the first Avatar. They haven't had work since the Smurfs movie. So it was nice to see them getting work in Wakanda. It's nice to see them. They got Avatar 2 coming. So there's work out there for blue people. If you're blue, go to Hollywood. You can find a job.
And is Avatar 2 gonna break some records, y'all think?
I am hyped for Avatar 2. I'm here for it.
I wasn't. I'm getting there. I'm seeing. They keep putting it in front of me. I'm like, I mean, it's gonna look really cool at the very least, and at best, it might be dope.
It's a 3-hour movie, right?
That's it.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna smoke in the theater, bro. I'm gonna be back there ripping dabs in the back row, because I'm not gonna just be sitting there for 3 hours, and I don't want to step out and miss anything either.
That's what edibles are for, my friend.
Oh
That
shit!
doesn't even seem
Yeah.
that long, to be honest, compared to we just got a 2-hour, 41-minute Black Panther movie. I mean, a 3-hour Avatar that's been taking like 30 years to make.
Could
So,
you have done it for another 20 minutes? Could you have sat through
So honestly, if we're talking
Wakanda
about
Forever for another 20?
that, so like I went last night after I got done with the stream. We ended our stream at like 11 o'clock at night. I went in to the movie at 11:35, and we got out at like we got out late as
Right
shit.
before the podcast started.
well, how many trailers did you get?
Yeah, you're out at like 2:30 in the morning.
We hit all we got all the trailers. We were there early. I had snacks.
Well, how many
ordered.
were there? Because when I watch when I go to press screenings, we have 0. So I'm thankful at the press screenings there's 0 trailers because
like
you just
3
go
or
right
4.
into it.
I don't feel like there were
Huh?
that many.
There were like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to
It
think
was
what I saw.
Avatar, Ant-Man, and something else, I think.
I remember
But definitely
Avatar and Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
The
Yeah.
Ant-Man trailer was dope. I am
Yeah,
excited
it
for
was.
that.
That looked so fucking cool.
It looks so good. But
My
we're talking
kids.
about the runtime. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Honestly, even though how tired I was, like I was exhausted, I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning. It didn't really feel. I didn't like get antsy. I didn't have to use the bathroom. I was pretty drawn in, and I probably could have done another 20 minutes. Honestly,
I was so
more Namor. I want more Namor.
I was so mad at the people in my theater. I was about to tee off on some teenagers. I can't even tell you. I had to tweet when I got out of the movie, and I didn't tweet my review. I tweeted about these damn teenagers, bro. So I told you, small town, about 12, maybe 15 people in the theater. And these clowns decide to sit in the row right in front of me, over on my right. And not even 5 minutes into the movie, this kid, phone, full light, full flashlight, drops his phone over his shoulder in our row. So there's just a huge light lighting up the whole place. He's like, "Oh, sorry, bro." And so he comes around and gets his phone. And then him and his dickhead friends, there's only 3 of them, they drop their phones like 5 times through the show. They're dropping chains, dropping wallets, dropped a drink, dropping phones. I'm like, what is happening over here? They get up
Harry,
and
you
leave
should have
the
dropped them on
theater.
their heads. Is what you should have done.
Over and over, they got up and left the theater and had to have come back like 4 times, just in and out. They wouldn't shut up. They wouldn't turn off their phones. They wouldn't stop dropping crap. Finally, someone in the front row turned around and is like, "Shh." And one of the teenagers like bucks up. Like he's going to say something to this family that's asking him to be quiet. And as soon as he bucked up, I sat up in my chair and fucking stared at him from like 6 feet away. Just made eye contact with this kid. And he went from this like bucked up, I'm going to go talk trash to this family, to like, oh crap, that giant behind me might strangle me. Annie was trying to keep me calm and breathing the whole time. She was like, "I'll go talk to the manager." And I was like, no, let me just go over there and talk to him. I'll take care of this. Let me just pop my head over their seat and have a conversation. So I had a good time at the movies as usual, Drew.
we had a little bit of talking, a little bit of phone action, but it calmed down a bit. I think the people to Jenny's right were a little louder, but I don't know. I just don't.
One of these times, I'm going to come back with a story that ends with me picking someone up from their seat and just throwing them like 12 rows down the movie theater. And then I'll be in jail and miss a podcast, but it'll be a good story on the next week.
Only 1 week in jail.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
Sean, to answer your original question, because I was just looking through upcoming movies so I could remember what trailers showed when I saw it. They showed at my screening the Super Mario trailer.
I didn't see that
Oh,
one.
that's cool.
They showed the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. They showed the Creed 3 trailer, so we got double dose of Jonathan Majors,
I don't
and
think I
then
saw that.
and then the Avatar Way of Water trailer
Cool.
showed.
Fucking
Those are the ones I know for
Love
sure. I got.
Jonathan Majors.
He's so swole in Creed. So swole.
Makes sense.
And Michael B. Jordan's directing that film too. It's his directorial debut, I believe.
He's taking the true Sly Stallone route there because he directed some of the later Rocky movies as well. So
I got nothing
Kinda
but
cool.
love for Michael B. Jordan.
yeah, he's wonderful. Well, let's so I
Final
think yeah. If you have any other thoughts, I mean, so that being said, I liked it. I thought that there were some a little bit extra filling in the movie, but I thought that emotionally and for what all it set out to do, I thought it was overall a success. I thought they accomplished what they set out to do, which was no easy feat by any means.
Yeah.
Better than I expected, all the way across the board, from acting to set design to basically everything except for maybe some CG. I thought that Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever was totally noteworthy. It has its place in the Marvel Universe. It made a mark and did a great job respecting Chadwick Boseman on the way out. I think this movie did not miss a whole lot. Lots and lots of wins here for me.
Yeah, a great tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I thought it was shot great. For what they had to deal with and all the last minute rushing and everything else, the movie did really well. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars for this one.
Yeah, I'd absolutely mirror that. That's not a bad opinion there. 4 out of 5 stars. It was a great movie, action-packed, emotional. It had heart, and it had some really good messaging in there. About
whenever your
themes
lead
of
actor
millennials.
passes away and then your world gets ruined by COVID and you're still able to make a movie of this quality, just outstanding.
Yeah.
They had to rework everything so many times.
They did a really, really good job. Yeah, and after that scene with the reveal of the child, and like we didn't know that there wasn't another scene. So we were watching the credits, and they like these Chadwick things kept popping up, like the Chadwick Boseman Foundation. I'm like, they made a foundation for him. Like, it kept making me want to cry again. It was pretty great.
Well, perfect. Looking ahead, so this does conclude officially Phase 4, right? That
Thank
was
God,
the
it was so
end
weak. It was so weak.
of Phase 4.
I thought there were a couple more, right? Aren't there
No,
two
we
more?
started off Phase 5 with Ant-Man. That kicks off Phase 5, and
I
we're
thought the Last Guardians was part of this also.
The
holiday
Guardians
special?
holiday special, I think, is supposed to be part of it.
I don't think
thought 3 was
kidnapping
part of
Kevin
this.
Bacon is really part of like the MCU story.
No. I thought that 3 was part of this as
As of right now, and I know that they can add things to this as time goes on, but as of right now, the slate of Phase 5 films includes Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Captain America: New World Order, Thunderbolts, and Blade are the films, and the MCU Disney Plus series are What If Season 2,
Nice.
Secret Invasion,
Nice.
Echo,
Okay.
Loki
Excellent.
Season 2, Ironheart,
Mhm.
Agatha Coven of Chaos, and Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah.
Those are the MCU shows that would fall within Phase 5.
And they swapped Armor Wars from a TV show to a movie, right?
Right,
Yes.
which I'm assuming would be Phase 6. I don't see it on this
Cool.
list.
There's so much shifting because remember they changed, they pushed back Blade, and then they pushed back Fantastic Four, and then they pushed back Deadpool. They just announced, and then Secret Wars got pushed back.
Blade's a really
So-
big deal for me, and I'm really hoping, because I know Mahershala Ali's annoyed with the process. I know there's
It's
a lot of
been
stuff
so
going
bad.
on. I'm concerned. Blade is the number one thing I wanted from the MCU. Like, I'm really excited. Please don't ruin it.
Looks
for me.
like Armor Wars is probably supposed to be Phase 5, but there's no release date on it since it was only just recently changed from being a show to a film. So I think that's why it's not in that official
sense.
list yet.
I really don't like it when they make these announcements and then really 2 days later they shift again. Like,
Yeah, you can tell they're just constantly working away.
Right.
They just try to
well,
make
like
these
Deadpool
announcements to make
3
people
like was
happy.
literally just announced with the date of September 6th, 2024, and then I think it was just 3 weeks later they made the announcement. They moved it to November 8th, 2024, and then shifted it Blade and everything else. So I'm like,
maybe the Kevin bot is malfunctioning.
They're doing a lot though. I'm impressed. They're doing a lot than any other studio I could think of. And they started off with what movie? Just Iron Man. And look how many movies they've created in this. I don't think anyone.
Yeah,
Even I don't think
it's
this-
never
yeah,
happened
great.
before, and
We'll
it might
mention,
never happen
shout out
again.
to Werewolf by Night, which was a short movie released during Phase 4. Not a show, not a movie, but a short film. Werewolf by Night was also pretty awesome.
It was.
Yeah, it's considered an MCU special presentation, which is what the holiday special, Guardians Holiday Special, I
Yes,
believe,
that's
falls
what
under
that
as
is, too.
well.
That's right.
So that gives us some expectations.
It
I guess we
gives-
could
it
expect that to be probably about somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour long.
It gave me
and-
some more tangible hope of a Midnight Suns movie. So
It could be. But also these special presentations, which is great, is they don't have to tell you where they fall in the MCU. They can fall before and after. Obviously, the Guardian special, you can tell, I guess, because there's no Gamora, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that's set up. So you can tell where that falls in. But like Werewolf by Night, they don't have to tell you where that falls.
Yeah, and
Right.
and they didn't. They didn't have to tell
It
you.
didn't-
They
it didn't
tell
care.
you, and it didn't
Yeah.
matter, and it was great.
Didn't matter.
It was so good.
Well, before we say our goodbyes, I'll give everybody a chance to. Sean, I'll start with you. I'm going to put you on the spot because I didn't ask you to prepare this. How about each of us? We'll do 3 bullets. We don't have to go into details about these, but we'll do our fresh picks of the week. I want 3 things from each of you that you've been enjoying recently. It could be a show, it could be a movie, it could be a book, it could be a video game. Just 3 things off the top of your head that you've been enjoying recently. Sean, I will let you go first.
Oh,
What-
3 things. Okay.
What have you been
Well-
watching recently? What stuck out to you recently?
Well, I'm gonna say this. They sent me the screener to watch
You know what
Spirited
TV show made me really
with
weird?
Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I haven't gotten through it yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty cool. It's a really interesting take on Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, but it's not. It's like in that universe, but it's not about Scrooge or anything. So like what they created is a really cool world. So I've been trying to finish that. I haven't been, other than the movies we've been watching, I haven't been having time to really enjoy anything else, to be honest.
I'll
I was this is tough, man. You put me on the spot.
I did. Here,
That was
I'll
pretty
do,
bad.
I'll do
But that-
myself. I have a couple things.
There you go. You should have
I
done it
just-
last.
I want to shout out the White Lotus season 2.
Lotus
With 2
season
episodes in at the time of this recording, and I loved the first season, and I've been digging the second season. I also watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story. This is the Al Yankovic biopic with Daniel Radcliffe. That is,
It's accurate.
it's a spoof on biopics at the same time. It is actually quite funny, and it's kind of like Gary. You've seen it.
Yes, we just
I've
watched
seen
it the
it
other
too.
day, and I would say while it's really, really funny and really, really stupid, it's almost taxing to watch because the jokes don't stop hitting you. Even when you want them to stop, they don't.
But it was
I'm
like a
with
very
you.
long, it felt like a very long sketch.
Yes, it's
Like
it's
that's how it played out, which is good and bad. Like, because it's obviously from what Funny or Die. So it felt like a Funny or Die like short film, but obviously it's a feature film, but like that's what it felt like to me. So it's kind of on so for me.
a lot of cameos, and it kind of felt almost like low budget in a way, but like I appreciate what they did with it. So that's what I'll say there.
If you've seen any of the old Weird Al movies, it really felt like all of those old Weird Al movies did, except now this one's made in 22 instead of the 80s or the 90s, and it actually has a real budget, and it actually has real actors. But it's just as stupid, and just as fake, and just as silly as all the other Weird Al stuff.
So I wanted to give that a shout out. And then lastly, just a few days ago, God of War Ragnarok came out on PlayStation, and I have been deep into playing that on PS5, and I loved the first God of War, or I should say the 2018 God of War was like my favorite game for that entire PS4 generation, and Ragnarok is living up to it. Really enjoying it. I just wanted to shout that out. Jahan, do you have some quick, fresh picks?
I started watching a show on Netflix called The Bastard Son of the Devil Himself. It's a British show about witches and magic and that kind of thing. It starts off a little too teen drama-y, but really it's just the first episode. After that, it's that crap's kind of over, and it turns into a really good effects-driven battle magic. I don't know, man. There's blood, guts. There's a scene where someone like goes like this, and like their whole body comes apart into separate pieces.
Have you seen The Magicians, Jahan?
I know what you're talking about, but no, is it good?
No, it's not. I was
Okay.
going to ask you how this compares to The Magicians.
So this show is a little hit or miss for me, but so far I like it. I've seen like the first 4 or 5. I'm gonna finish it. I like it enough for that. It's interesting, and I like the powers. I like the way the power sets work in this. And then I also season 2 of Dead End Paranormal Park, which is an animated show on Netflix, came out. I only watched the first one so far, but it seems like it still has that fresh magic. I really enjoy it. And a video game that I've been kind of other than Marvel Snap, which we've all been playing, and it's kind of crap. Seriously,
Episode is unofficially sponsored by
Marvel Snap. That game is very, very fun. But another game that I play that's on Game Pass right now for PC, about to come to Xbox Game Pass, is called Vampiric Survivor, I believe is what it's called. It's a retro graphics style game. It's kind of like a twin stick shooter, except you don't fire, you just move. That's all you do, and you get to pick how you level up, and you can change what projectiles come out of your person, and they come out automatically at intervals, and you're just trying to build this power set and survive these hordes and hordes of creatures that come at you. And it's a fun game. It is a good kind of just mindless death machine, and I've been enjoying it.
Jahan introduced me to Marvel Snap on Tuesday. Tuesday's the first time I heard about it. Now it's Saturday. We're recording a podcast. It's only been about 5 days. I have gone from beginning the game to high-ranked gold on the verge of platinum. I've stayed up till 4 in the morning more than once already, playing this game in the wee hours of the night. I haven't really turned on shows or my Xbox or eaten food or changed clothes or gone to the bathroom since Snap came out, or I'm just playing Snap. And all I can do is play Marvel Snap. And I was at first upset that it wasn't like Pokemon Snap. You don't go around and take pictures of Marvel characters. Instead, it's a card deck building game.
I played
Deep Rock Galactic. I hate you for that joke, but it was good.
I would play that game.
Deep Rock Galactic is they just hit season 3 for Deep Rock Galactic. It's my favorite space mining first-person shooter dwarven bug shooting game. If you like Minecraft, but you wish that instead of being Minecraft, it was where you kill bugs the whole time instead, then that's the game for you. You should Deep Rock Galactic.
That's how I feel
Season
about
3.
Deep Rock Galactic too. It's a lot like SimCity, but if instead of SimCity you just went to a mine and killed bugs, then you should check it out.
Yeah. Season 3, of course, came out last week for Steam. It comes out next week for Xbox. That'll be November 17th. The 3rd season goes live. New grenades, new enemies, new missions. Looking forward to more Deep Rock Galactic.
I'm also real excited about Season 3.
But those are the only two I have. I've really just been playing those 2 games, Deep Rock and Marvel Snap, and watching WWE. I'm all caught up on wrestling, but no one cares about that except for me.
Sean, I gave you, now you got a little bit of a breather. Anything else?
No,
like
my brain's dead.
No, we're good. This is bordering on an hour and 45 minutes talking about Marvel and all kinds of good stuff. So,
did I mention Marvel Snap or no?
Did we mention Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
We almost need to just do a Marvel Snap episode of the pod in the future, just as we get another week or two into it. Our favorite
I would love
decks.
to sit here and just stream us playing Marvel Snap sometime. It'd be fun.
Well, to Gary's point, I think it was just last night. It was maybe 11:30. I was laying in bed and I was like, this, I'm gonna get to bed before midnight, but let me just, knock out a few games of Marvel Snap before I go to sleep. And I felt like I had been playing for 10 to 15 minutes, and I put my phone down, or I exited the app, and it was 12:45. I was like, oh my God, how did I play this for over an hour? I've just been sitting here doing this. So, yeah, you get lost in it.
Let's just say I've been getting lots of work done lately.
All right, guys. Well, this has been episode 68 of Fresh Out the Podcast. I'm Drew Munhausen, at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. Yes, Jahan.
I can't wait for next episode.
Next episode is
I'm really excited.
Oh boy.
It's going to be really nice. I've been Johananon. I'm at RockFact on Twitter. You can find me everywhere, all the time. I'm awesome.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Podcast and Fresh Out the Box. If you like tabletop role-playing games, or you just want to see a bunch of new faces playing new games, trying to crack jokes and crack each other up every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Jahan and I are playing tabletop role-playing games with friends and all sorts of different things. You're going to love it. Come check us out. We have a YouTube, we have a Facebook, we got the Twitch going. You can find us everywhere. It would be awesome if you would click those little like and subscribes. It's one small click for you, but it goes a long way for Jahan and I. Same story with the podcast. Tell somebody about the podcast. You know someone who's seen Wakanda Forever. because it just came out. So tell one of your friends, someone who hasn't heard the podcast before, to tune in and listen to what these guys have to say about it. And if they like or follow anywhere podcasts are available, that would be awesome too. Thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your time with us, and we will see you next time.
And Sean, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm Sean Tosh for the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and just go to nerd-tropolis.com for movie news, reviews, interviews, and trailers.
Perfect. Thanks again, Sean, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And stay fresh.
Stay fresh.